Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again. It's time for another hard rock and metal update. It's been a while since I did a metal update. Just straight metal. I did the Christian update last week, and I got real good response on that, and I appreciate everybody's comments and discussion from that. I'll do another Christian metal update probably in another month or two. I've got some more stuff to show. I've got some stuff on order as well, so I'll wait until I get all that together and do that. But I've gotten behind on my regular metal and hard rock updates, and I'm going to try to go through these relatively quick because I have a lot to show. And this is only about half of the metal and rock that I've bought over the last couple months, so I'll have to do a couple of updates over the next week or two to get caught up. But regardless, let's go ahead and jump right in. There's no music playing in the background. I may edit some in before I release this, but as with one of my past updates, my wife and daughter are both passed out and I don't want to wake them up. So, like I said, maybe I'll edit something in and I'll put a little note of what it is if I do. So, let's go ahead and get started. This one was a really cool album. I bought this because I thought that the album art was kind of interesting. This is actually a Hungarian band called Omega. This is a comp. Apparently, they've been around since the mid-'60s or so, and they started off as kind of a psych band, and in the 70s they moved into hard rock. Now, from what I can tell, this is a comp that has stuff from a bunch of their albums translated into English or sung in English. This was released in '74, just self-titled Omega. This is a promo copy. It's a white label promo. Very cool though. Some very cool hard rock, I guess hard psych, if that's even a category, or maybe hard rock with psych mixed in, and then just some blues rock as well. So very cool album, definitely worth checking out. There's a couple of Omega, so make sure you check out the Hungarian Omega. And apparently this is one of the top-selling Hungarian bands of all time. I saw that they have like 15 or 20 albums. And it looks like they had quite a few that they released in the U.S., but it looks like this was the first that they released in the U.S. But again, I kind of bought this because I just thought the album cover was kind of cool. And I think it mentioned somewhere on the back here that it's hard rock. So, let's see. Regardless, definitely worth checking out. This next one was actually kind of a disappointment. I was pretty stoked to see this at my record store. This is the Metallica Ride the Lightning that was misprinted in green instead of blue. It's got all the markings of the French error print, or the French error, the original version of this. I asked the guy at the bookstore, at the record store that I got it from, if this was it. He wasn't sure. He didn't know much about metal. So, I mean, he gave me a pretty good price for it. And then I got it home, got it opened up, and then saw that it was on green vinyl. And that told me right away that it's the bootleg version. And while the vinyl does look really cool, and it is a nice looking bootleg, it doesn't sound very good. So if you see the bootlegs of the French pressing, and this is actually, I found out with some research, is actually a UK bootleg. So it's not even French, though it has all the French markings on it. But I would avoid this one if you run across it. The sound quality is just not there. Ride the Lightning is one of the Metallica albums that I'm missing on vinyl, so I jumped all over it, and it turned out to be a disappointment. So if you're a collector of bootlegs or you're a collector of colored vinyl, check it out. Other than that, I would avoid it altogether. So, Ride the Lightning. Next up, this is a very cool band. This is new wave of British metal from the early 80s. I want to say 83 and 84 is when these came out. This is Pierre. Die You Heathen Die. This was actually a British band that was apparently pretty popular in the live scene. They opened for a lot of big bands, and apparently there was a lot of interest in them, and then the band just kind of fell apart and disappeared. the core band is two brothers, and I can't find any information of a bassist. So, but there is bass in the music. So when they recorded this, a bass player was present, but the actual band apparently was just two brothers. But regardless, side one is their first demo. Side two is their second demo. This was released on Buried by Time and Dust, which is, or I think it was a pretty cool label. They've been finding some of the older new wave of British metal albums and re-recording them, and they do some really good job. I mean, the artwork, as you can see, is beautifully done on this. It's a real thick sleeve with, again, custom artwork on both sides. Very cool. And then a real thick insert. And I think it was Greeno talked a little bit about Buried by Time and Dust. However, when I looked at their website and stuff, nothing's been updated since the middle of last year. So I'm wondering if they're still around. I hope they are. Most of what I've seen from them has been really impressive and really nicely done. For all you new wave of British metal fans, this is definitely worth checking out. Some people call it a cult metal or a cult music, and I can see that with some of the lyrics in a couple of the songs. But still definitely worth checking out and having in your collection, especially if you're a new wave fan, new wave of British heavy metal anyway. And keeping on the new wave of British heavy metal, let's move right into Tank. I bought these together. This was on sale. It's going to drive me nuts. What's the website? Give me a sec. It's one of the websites at Greeno. Rockadrome. So rockadrome.com, I found some really killer stuff. That was a site that Greeno turned me on to with the Shotgun album maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and I've actually bought quite a few from that website since then. And one of the cool things about Rockadrome is they don't just sell new albums, they also sell used vinyl, and that's how I picked up this Tank album. This is their self-titled killer album. I had never heard this one, and I was really blown away by it. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times. Again, I bought this used, but it's brand new. It's in perfect condition. It sounds like a brand new album. As you can see, it's still in the shrink. They do a real good job of sending stuff out, and I think I paid $8 for this because it was used. And this one too, it's hard to tell. I bought this one from them used as well, and I think I paid $15 for this, and this one goes for about $20, brand new. So very cool scores there. Highly recommend picking up anything from Tank. They were just a killer new wave of British metal band. And speaking of killer new wave of British metal bands, I finally picked up a copy of Redeemer of Souls. I really hesitated with this one for a long time. Even leading into it coming out, I wasn't sure if I was going to buy it. As those of you who've been following me for a while know, I've only recently gotten into Judas Priest about a year ago. Younger in my youth, while I loved heavy metal, something about his voice drove me nuts. And it's not just him. King Diamond was the same way. I couldn't stand their voices. And now it's come around, and it's finally grown on me, both of them. And I'm a big fan of both bands. But then I heard KK wasn't going to be in the band, and I really come to like his guitar sound. So when I heard that, I wasn't going to buy it. And then when it first came out, I heard people reviewing about the production quality of it, the recording quality, and I can kind of see their point a little bit. There's some spots in there where I can see issues with the recording, but it is what it is. It's still a killer album. It's definitely worth having. I took the download code and put it onto my MP3 player on my phone, and it gets played all the time when I'm going to and from work as well. So I'm sure most of you have seen this one through everybody else's videos, so I'm not going to go into it too much. Next up, this one, this is a funny one for me. Divine Intervention from Slayer. This is an album when it came out that I avoided for about 2 years. I was a huge fan, and still am, of Dave Lombardo, being a drummer myself, especially at this time when I was deep into playing. I was in a band actively at the time when this came out. I wanted nothing to do with it. I just wasn't interested. And then I finally checked it out and actually really dig it. The one thing that I can say about this album is that the drums aren't nearly as good as Dave Lombardo. And even when I listen to it now, the drums don't quite match up to the music. They don't quite, the fills just aren't there. Some of the songs to me feel like they're about half a beat behind. But I love the guitar work on here, and I really like the songs themselves. So I finally ended up picking it up. I saw them live on this tour, actually. And you know what? It may not have been this tour. It may have been the follow-up or the next tour for, what is it, Attitude Adjustment? Whatever the cover album they did was. For one of these two, I saw him live. And again, the drummer, and his name's eluding me right now. I've got Paul Bostoff in my head, and it may have been him. But he just couldn't play the Dave Lombardo fills when he did South of Heaven and Seasoned in the Abyss. Seasoned in the Abyss in the intro has that really crazy drum roll, and he just couldn't do it. And I found that kind of disappointing. Other than that, though, again, it was a good show, and I did over time end up coming to enjoy this album. So I finally bought a copy of it about a week ago when I saw it on sale. So next up, it's funny when they did the Best Buy sale earlier this year, and most of you know what I'm talking about. They had this album for $10, and I kicked myself for not getting it. This is Spinal Tap. I ended up actually finding this for under $10, if you can see right there. It's a stamped promo. This is obviously the first first U.S. pressing. Like I said, I was disappointed I didn't get it, afterwards, and I'm glad I didn't, because I did end up finding this one. It sounds amazing. I forgot how funny this album is. Very good listen. If you haven't checked out Spinal Tap, or if you haven't listened to it in a long time, just pull it out. I just sat there laughing. I actually I was just on myself earlier today. I need to download that movie from iTunes, because it's been a while since I've seen it. So this is Spinal Tap. So these next three are from the same band, and you get to see a couple different, I don't want to say generations of the band, because the core members are on all three of these albums, but there's quite a bit of change between these three albums. So the first one is Crocus, Pay It in Metal. This was released by a couple different names and 5 different covers. I think it was released as Painkiller in Europe. I could be wrong on that. It may be something. Painkiller sounds right, though. This was the U.S. cover. There was also a U.S. cover that had a banana on it, which Scott was showing a couple days ago on the YouTube or on the Facebook page. This is the one with the factory on the cover. For those of you that aren't familiar with the late or the mid to late 70s Crocus, this is before they became a metal band. This is very blues rock, a little bit of southern rock, and hard rock all kind of mixed together. It's still a good album. It's not killer blues rock. It's not killer southern rock. It's not killer hard rock. It's just good rock. And what it came down to is the singer, who is also the bassist, I believe. The bassist was still the singer at this time. He just wasn't very good. He recognized that actually after this album. They brought in a new singer who was with him on, I don't know if he's still with him, but he was with him for quite a while after that. So then we'll move on to One Vice at a Time, which came out, I believe, 2 albums later. This was 82, so it may have been 3 albums later. And this is when they're full swing AC/DC. They're kind of a harder version of AC/DC at this point in their career. And it's a good album. There's some really good stuff in here. Once you get past the fact that he does sound like Brian Johnson, and just listen to the music, it's actually a really good album. So this is One Vice at a Time. And then this one's late 80s. I believe this one was 86, so mid 80s. And this is where they kind of went from being the heavy metal band here to kind of the pop, hard rock, pop metal by the time this one came out. And that's not to say this isn't a good album. It's a good hard rock album. There's a couple of songs that you can consider heavy metal on here. And he does a really good, or they do a really good remake They do a real good remake of School's Out from Alice Cooper, and it's probably the better song on here. Burning Up the Night's also good, as is World on Fire. So there are some good tracks on here, definitely worth checking out, but it's definitely more of a pop metal album. The next one, I picked this one up on Saturday. It's I'm the Man from Anthrax. I actually cannot stand the song I'm the Man. The main reason I picked this up is I do like the live version of Cotton and Mosh that's on here. Additionally, you've also got live versions of I'm the Law and a Sabbath Bloody Sabbath cover. So let's see. So let's move into Kiss. I've actually picked up quite a bit of Kiss, and we'll just kind of finish it with this because this video is getting kind of long. And it's actually funny that I ran into this, or that I'm showing this today, because today is actually Gene Simmons' birthday. So let's go ahead and start with that. So we've got Kiss, Gene Simmons. I don't know that this should really be on the hard rock heavy metal update, because there's nothing hard rock or heavy metal about this album. This is by far the worst of the solo albums, in my opinion, which is kind of surprising if you think about it, because he's the most hardcore, or who you consider the most hardcore of Kiss, or who you would think would be the most hardcore, but so by far the worst. But I didn't have it. I wanted it in the collection, and I found it for a good price. I actually found that one with, and we'll get to those later. Next up, we'll show Peter Criss. This is not hard rock at all either. However, this is a really good album. Quite a bit of Motown, R&B stylings, I would say. Still, like I said, if you're looking for Kiss on this album, you're not going to find it. But if you're looking just for some good music to chill out to, this is definitely an album worth checking out. Once again, probably shouldn't be on this update, but because it's Kiss, you know, I had to put it here. So next, I bought this one a couple weeks ago. I actually bought these two together, the Peter Criss and the Gene Simmons, and the rest I found in other places. So I found this one a couple weeks ago, and this is probably, well, this would definitely be my second favorite. This one actually, the Paul Stanley solo album actually sounds like it's Kiss. Ace, I'm not going to show because I've had that one for years. That one is on the shelf. That's by far the best of the solo albums. Again, not really Kiss sounding, but it is. There are some harder tracks on it. It's also obviously got New York Groove, which is an amazing song. But the Paul Stanley is also a very good solo album. There's a couple good songs on here. Again, this is the one that probably most sounds like Kiss in my opinion. So I bought this one a couple of weeks ago, and it's corner clipped, and the vinyl's got some scratches on it. And then today I was in a different antique mall and ran across it again for about the same price, and this one's just in slightly better condition. So if anybody is looking for a copy of Paul Stanley, it's in excellent condition. It sounds really good, but it does have that corner clip, so I'd be willing to trade that. Next up, a near mint, maybe a high VG plus near mint copy of Hotter Than Hell. This is the second, or this would have to be the third pressing, because it's not on the Bogart label. This is on the beige Casablanca label. I think this is the first pressing on that, but it's in excellent condition. I actually have a first pressing in mint condition, minus the insert. It drives me crazy. And again with that, the Peter Criss is the only one that had any inserts in it, and it has everything but the poster. So it has the Kiss Army order form and then the insert sheet, but it's missing the poster. So I also picked up a really nice copy of Hotter Than Hell. So if anybody's looking for this, again, this would be something that I'm willing to trade. And as you can see, this one's in really nice shape. And it has the Casablanca insert. And then again, this is on the beige Casablanca weight. So, and then last but not least, I finally found a good copy of Kiss Alive. When I got back into collecting about a year and a half ago, one of the first albums that I bought was Kiss Alive 2. That's always been my favorite of the Kiss albums. And I've showed this before, but I've had this one for a couple years now. The Kiss Alive box set. I bought this one for the Millennium concert, which I need to get on vinyl now that it's been released. Kiss Alive 2 has always been my favorite, and it comes down to more song selection. It has more of my favorite songs than Kiss Alive does. Kiss Alive is right there, though. I think they're both amazing. Again, Kiss Alive 2, it just came down to, it has a couple of songs that I really like that Kiss Alive doesn't. And then the Millennium concert's also amazing. So, but I finally found a copy. This one does have the booklet. I don't know if there were any other inserts in this one other than the booklet, but the vinyl's in mint condition. You can see there's some wear on the jacket, but still, killer copy. And I bought it for it. You can see it right there for $11. So definitely a killer deal. That's it, BC. Another metal update. This went a lot longer than I wanted it to, but I'll see you soon, and take care. Keep rocking.